Creating content for your wellness podcast can feel overwhelming, especially when you're juggling everything else as the chief doer and decision maker in your online business. But let me tell you, having a solid system to organize your content is a game changer in your productivity. It's also important to have a structured approach to your podcast episodes and supporting content. This not only simplifies managing your online presence in all the places, but it also ensures that you're reaching the people who desperately need your wellness tips and guidance. Let's talk about developing a system to create quality episodes that really connect with your ideal client. This is the key to building lasting relationships and trust with your potential clients. Today, we're going to talk about 4 steps that I want you to add into your content creation routine for your wellness podcast. By integrating these 4 steps, establishing a podcast content process, brainstorming session topics regularly, and then crafting high quality episodes and publishing consistently. But one thing I want you to keep in mind, sometimes done is better than perfect. You will captivate your listeners with engaging and informative content that reflects your unique approach to wellness. This makes choosing to listen to your podcast a simple decision for anyone interested in improving their health and well-being. Let's set up your podcast creation process. I know setting up a content creation process may sound a bit daunting. I've heard it before, but trust me, it's absolutely vital. You see, when you set up a streamlined content creation process for your podcast, it sets you up for success. Here's how you keep it simple and effective. Start by planning your episode topics. Think about the subjects or themes you can talk about extensively. You know, all of those things that you talk about repeatedly to your friends and family that are related to your specific coaching niche. And I really want you to dive into them. I want you to map out the major pillars of your content or categories that you want to cover in your podcast. In the beginning, the narrower the scope, the better. Ideally, you do not want to have any more than 6 different pillars that are in alignment with your coaching niche. If your goal is to increase your listener engagement or to grow your audience, you want to choose those topics that are relevant and deeply interesting to your listeners. If you want these topics to resonate with them on their wellness journey, give them those juicy little tips that you know. I'm currently in a plant-based eating stage, and I've been listening to so many wellness shows. This way of eating is new to me, and I don't get all the ins and outs. And I'm struggling to really find out what I'm going to love with all the different food varieties that are out there. So, for example, a friend recommended the book Fiber Fueled to me, and I read that in 3 days. And I've recommended as well to my sister-in-law and a few people. But I wanted to learn more. I need to learn more. I'm very much a research person. But where was the next place that I turned to receive more knowledge and insight on plant-based eating? Podcasts. Because I can take them with me anywhere. I can listen to them on walks, in my car, and I can have them playing when I'm working out. You see, that is the beauty of a podcast. And I'm always looking for new podcasts with deep, interesting topics that I can relate to. And guess what? So is your ideal client. Podcasts are a great way to connect with a broader audience and the right people. Understanding your listeners and the problems that they're actively searching to solve. This begins by creating content about their specific wellness interests and challenges. What are they dealing with? What are they trying to solve? Are they struggling with their diet? Are they having problems being able to get in exercise every single day and they just need tips how to do it easily? Are they struggling with mindset around eating or even mindset around just getting up to move, and that's considered something better than nothing? Are they having to make an overall lifestyle change like I'm facing right now? Those are the things that you really want to hone in on when you're creating those episode topics or those episode categories that you're going to be recording your episodes on. Really figure out what are the things that you currently are helping your clients with. What are the solutions that you provide to them, and make it so simple to integrate into their lifestyle. Schedule your recordings. So, a well organized content calendar for your podcast episodes is essential. I tell you what, there's so many great podcasts that I started listening to where they just completely fall off and become random with their publishing of their podcast. So, if you're new to podcasting, make sure you have at least 10 episodes ready to go before you even publish your first one. This is a great tip because then you're going to be ahead of the curve for all the past episodes. Just make sure you're staying on top of your recording, because if you have 10 of them out there, that doesn't mean that you need to stop. You need to keep having a consistent routine of scheduling and recording your podcast. And you want to ensure that when you're planning and releasing those, you're also keeping them in a smooth and consistent manner that's lining up with your promotional calendar as well for your business. And if you're struggling to find a project management tool that works best for you, just pick one, try it, and go. Just keep in mind that don't overthink it. I've overthought my project management tool for so long. I'm with Asana. And the reason that I landed on Asana is because it worked best for my team. So keep that in mind as well, because if you're planning to grow into having a content VA on your team, you want to have something that's simple and easy for you to use and for them to use as well. There's no one right system. There's only the system that you'll actually use. Brainstorming your wellness topics. For wellness podcasters, brainstorming is vital to keep your content fresh and engaging. Be curious about the different things that your audience cares about. If you are completely at a standstill with your ideas, go to social media. Look and see what questions people have asked you in your post already. And if you're not getting a lot of engagement, well, where else is your ideal clients hanging out? Are they in a Facebook group that you can go and just really look at some of the questions that people are asking? And that can help you with your idea generating, because you want it to be, again, something that you can talk about endlessly when you're doing this. Make sure that you're keeping your ideas organized. You never want to lose track of those great episode ideas again. So keep all your thoughts neatly organized so that you can find something compelling to talk about. You can call it a catalog episode or a catalog of your ideas, but you just want to make sure that you have one central location for all of your ideas. And I do have a podcast that you can go back and listen to. I'll have it down below in the show notes. So 3 ways to capture your idea bank. It's episode 55. I think I actually just talked about this last week or the week before too in the podcast. But that is a great episode to go back and listen to so you can find ways to actually capture your ideas that work for you. The next one is developing your engaging podcast episodes. You won't be able to listen to the full length of your podcast. So make sure that you're keeping it exciting, that you're providing valuable content and information that is easy for them to implement, as well as giving them tips and tricks that make their wellness journey so simple and easy. And your episode title should be intriguing to your potential listeners. Although I don't know if I've gotten this one down pat yet. But your content should deliver that valuable insight into their wellness that keep them coming back episode after episode after episode. So with engaging titles, you do want to keep your episode titles clear and concise, and then let them know that the actual problem that you're solving, because you want to pique their curiosity to ensure that they actually hit play on that button. So apparently this one must have been intriguing. I do find when I say 4 tips, 3 tips, 5 tips, whatever, those titles seem to do a little bit better. I'm a huge fan of the Online Business for Christian Women's podcast by Stephanie Gass. In her episode 699, she covers 4 podcast title hacks that you need to use to attract more listeners. I encourage you to go listen to that one because she has brilliant ideas in that podcast. The next step in developing engaging podcast episodes is the actual quality content. So this one should be like magic to you. It should be so simple for you to come up with episodes that provide actionable wellness tips and insight. You want to use those clear, accessible language that invites beginners, yet is sustainable enough for the more advanced in their wellness journeys. Each episode should offer actionable wellness insight. You want to be able to speak clearly. So don't follow in my footsteps when words are hard. But you want to make sure that you're just using that language that is welcoming and is understandable for the newcomers to your podcast and really invite them into your world. But you also want to make sure that you're holding enough value in there so that the people that have been with you for a while are still finding value in what you have to offer along their wellness journey. And the final is publishing and promoting your episode effectively. Because friends, what's the point of creating awesome content if it doesn't get the ears it deserves? You want people to be able to find your podcast so you can boost your reach and impact to more of your ideal clients or your target audience, whatever you want to call them. So how do you actually ensure that your episodes make that impact? So besides putting your podcast on all the big platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, you also want to make sure that you're promoting it on social media so people know about it. I love Pinterest. I always am putting my podcast episodes and blog posts on Pinterest so that I can see that traffic to my website. And don't forget that you can use chat to easily and without effort repurpose your podcast transcript into your blog post that's SEO friendly. You just need to give it a once over because sometimes it throws things in there and you're like, I don't think this actually sounds like me. You can also tell it to break it up into summaries of what you're actually talking about in your podcast to use as a beginning caption for your social media posts. Once it's been published, you want to make sure that you are tracking your performance to see which of those topics resonate the most with your listeners. You can see your top most downloaded and listened to episodes. So make sure if you're hitting a sweet spot with your audience that you're coming back to that same topic and discussing it in a different way because we all understand things differently and you want to make sure that you're giving them information in a different manner each time. Use different words, use a different manner. That way, maybe it will resonate with one person over another. You never know. And of course, I touched on it before, but you want to repurpose your content. You want to make sure that your podcast episodes are being turned into blog posts. You can also, for most of them, have those podcasts become on YouTube because Google Podcast is now just directing everything to YouTube, and that's the second search engine out there. So make sure that you're getting your content in the right places so that it is easily searchable. Okay, friends, it's time to wrap this up. When you're organizing content creation, at first might feel daunting, but it's essential for running a successful online business. By establishing your process for your podcast so you know how to brainstorm effectively, you know how to create that quality content, and you know how to repurpose and publish it, you can ensure that your message reaches and resonates with the right people. So let's simplify your content creation process together and make it rewarding and effective as possible. I do have private coaching spots available if you're interested and taking this one step further. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I hope you make it a wonderful week, friend. Yay! Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found this episode valuable and learned some actionable tips that you can implement in your business so that you can feel accomplished and less stressed. If you enjoyed this show, please take a quick minute to share this with your business bestie, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps me reach more business owners just like you. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please reach out to me on my website. I've created a form just for you. Remember, with the right system and mindset, you can achieve the success your heart desires. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you next time. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And don't forget, let's grow, friends.